Have you ever imagined stepping into a place that seems straight out of a dream? Places so impressive they defy logic. In today's video, you'll discover some of the most beautiful and unbelievable places on the planet, ones that will make you rethink everything you know about nature. Mount Fanjing Temple, China. Mount Fanjing, one of China's natural and spiritual gems, rises majestically in the Guizhou province, in the southwest of the country. With an elevation of 8,432 feet above sea level, this sacred mountain is one of the most important and mystical Buddhist destinations in the world. Its name, Fanjing, means Brahma's pure land, a reference to the celestial paradise in Buddhism. The mountain is part of the Fanjing National Nature Reserve, a biodiversity sanctuary recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in 2018. But beyond its natural splendor, what truly draws pilgrims and travelers is the incredible structure perched atop a steep and isolated rock formation, the legendary Mount Fanjing Temple. The temple rests on a unique geological formation known as the Red Head Golden Peak. This peak rises through a sea of clouds, defying logic and the laws of gravity. The site is simply breathtaking. The temple is divided into two main parts, the Buddha Temple and the Maitreya Temple, both connected by a narrow stone bridge that spans a deep abyss. Mount Fanjing's history as a pilgrimage site dates back over 1,200 years. However, due to its remote location and challenging terrain, the structures have been repaired and rebuilt over the centuries. What we see today is the result of generations of devotion and hard work. To reach the top and visit the temple, pilgrims and tourists must endure a grueling journey. The route requires climbing more than 26,200 feet of stone steps carved into the mountain's slope. In the past, the only way to reach the temple was on foot. Today, there is a cable car that reduces part of the journey, but visitors still need to climb the last several thousand feet on foot. Corinth Canal, Greece. Between the turquoise waters of the Gulf of Corinth and the Aegean Sea lies one of the most impressive feats of 19th century engineering, the Corinth Canal. Carved through the isthmus that separates the Peloponnesian Peninsula from mainland Greece, this narrow waterway, approximately 4 miles long, transformed maritime transport in the region and became one of Greece's most fascinating icons. For centuries, sailors and merchants dreamed of a passage that would avoid the long and dangerous detour of over 250 miles around the Peloponnesus. However, cutting through the solid limestone of the isthmus posed a colossal technical and financial challenge. The first attempt to create a canal in the region dates back to the 6th century before Christ, when the tyrant Periander of Corinth envisioned a navigable route. But due to the technical limitations of the era, he instead built the diolkos, a paved road where boats were transported on wooden rollers. The diolkos, which stretched for approximately 5 1/4 miles, remained in use for over 700 years and was an ingenious solution to avoid the perils of sailing around the Peloponnesus. However, the dream of a true canal persisted throughout history. The Roman Emperor Nero even ordered the start of excavations in the 1st century after Christ, but his premature death brought the works to a halt. Only in the 19th century, with the advancement of technology and the influence of the Industrial Revolution, did the construction of the canal become feasible. In 1881, work began under the supervision of French and Greek engineers. For 12 years, thousands of laborers dug and blasted tons of rock, facing technical difficulties, geological instabilities, and financial setbacks. Finally, in 1893, the Corinth Canal was inaugurated, fulfilling a dream that spanned millennia. Hallstatt, Austria. Hallstatt, a hidden gem nestled among Austria's mountains, embraced by the crystal-clear waters of Lake Hallstattersee, a place where time seems to have stood still, preserving centuries of history, culture, and indescribable natural beauty. Here, every street, every house, and every landscape tells a story, one that weaves a narrative dating back thousands of years. Located in the Upper Austria region, Hallstatt is a small village that has become one of the most breathtaking tourist destinations in the world. With a population of just over 700 people, this alpine paradise attracts visitors from all corners of the globe, eager to experience its magical atmosphere, and it's not hard to see why. The postcard image of Hallstatt is its picturesque architecture. Wooden houses with flower-filled balconies, colorful facades, and sloped roofs create a fairy tale-like setting. The village is perched between the mountain and the lake, making the most of the limited space in the local geography. Narrow streets, stone staircases, and small bridges form part of this enchanting maze, where every corner reveals a new surprise. But Hallstatt is not just about beauty. Its history is as rich as its landscapes. The region has been inhabited for over 7,000 years, and it was here that one of the first organized societies in Europe emerged. The name Hallstatt actually became synonymous with an archaeological period, the Hallstatt culture, which flourished between 1000 and 800 and 500 years before Christ. The village's greatest treasure has always been salt. Yes, salt. Known as white gold, this mineral has been extracted from deep within the mountains since prehistoric times. The salt mines of Hallstatt are the oldest in the world in continuous operation, and their legacy spans millennia. Today, visitors can explore this fascinating history at Salzwelten, the famous Hallstatt salt mine. Leshan Giant Buddha, China. The sound of the wind glides over the mountains of Sichuan province, in China, where the morning mist dances between valleys and rivers. A breathtaking landscape, marked by the green of the forests and the gentle flow of the Min River, the Qingyi River, and the Dadu River. In this majestic setting, carved directly into the rock of Mount Lingyun, stands the Leshan Giant Buddha, one of the most impressive monuments of antiquity. Standing at 233 feet tall with shoulders stretching 92 feet across, this colossal statue of Maitreya, the Buddha of the future, not only dominates the landscape, but also carries a rich history of faith, ingenuity, and perseverance. For over a millennium, it has silently watched over the confluence of the three rivers, a testament to human dedication to spirituality and the grandeur of nature. The history of the Leshan Giant Buddha dates back to the 8th century during the Tang dynasty, when a Buddhist monk named Haitong had a bold vision. He believed that a large statue of Buddha carved into the face of the mountain could calm the turbulent waters that plagued local navigators. According to legend, Haitong devoted his life to raising funds for the construction, facing unimaginable challenges. When corrupt officials tried to extort money from him, he, in an extreme act of devotion, gouged out his own eyes to prove his sincerity. Haitong's determination inspired many, and even after his death, his disciples continued the work. Over 90 years, thousands of artisans carved the mountain, removing tons of rock and shaping every detail of the Buddha. The engineering behind the construction of the Leshan giant Buddha is as impressive as its scale. Ancient architects developed a sophisticated drainage system that prevents erosion of the statue. Small channels and holes were strategically placed to divert rainwater, ensuring the stone Buddha would withstand the test of time. This innovation, combined with the strength of the rock into which it was carved, allowed the statue to survive centuries of weather and natural disasters. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Neuschwanstein Castle, one of Germany's most iconic landmarks, rises majestically among the Bavarian mountains, surrounded by dense forests and lush valleys. With its tall towers and fairy tale-like architecture, it attracts millions of visitors every year, all captivated by its beauty and the history it holds. Located near the town of Füssen, the castle was envisioned by King Ludwig II of Bavaria, a romantic and visionary monarch who dreamed of a fortress that would reflect his artistic passions and admiration for Germanic legends. Construction began in 1869, and although it was never fully completed, the castle became a symbol of German Romanticism and the pursuit of idealized beauty. The name Neuschwanstein means New Swan Stone, a reference to the Swan Knight, a character from one of the operas by Richard Wagner, King Ludwig's favorite composer. In fact, the castle was conceived as a tribute to the musician, incorporating elements of his stories and dramas into the interior decorations and architectural design. Every room in the palace reflects medieval and mythological influences, transporting visitors to a world of fantasy and splendor. The structure of the castle, with an area of approximately 64,600 square feet, is stunning in its grandeur. Its towers reach over 197 feet tall, creating a striking silhouette against the blue Bavarian sky. The white facade and dark roofs emphasize the Gothic and Romantic design, while the carved details add a sense of sophistication and mystery. Despite its splendor, King Ludwig II enjoyed little of his creation. He was declared mentally unfit to rule in 1886 under mysterious circumstances and was subsequently deposed. Just a few days later, his body was found in the shallow waters of Lake Starnberg, an event still surrounded by speculation and conspiracy theories to this day. With his death, construction on the castle ceased, and Neuschwanstein remained unfinished. Even so, the castle opened to the public just weeks after the king's death, quickly becoming one of Germany's most visited tourist attractions. Today, it receives about 1,500,000 visitors annually, who walk through its enchanting halls and corridors, immersed in the history and magic of the place. Cliffs of Moher, Ireland. On the west coast of Ireland, where the land meets the Atlantic Ocean in an abrupt and dramatic way, rises one of the world's most breathtaking landscapes, the Cliffs of Moher. A natural spectacle that stretches for 5 miles along the coast, with heights reaching 702 feet above sea level. Since time immemorial, these cliffs have been a place of contemplation and mystery. Here the wind blows strong, ocean waves crash against the rocks with a thunderous roar, and seabirds perform aerial dances as if guarding this natural monument. The origin of the Cliffs of Moher dates back over 320 million years, during the Carboniferous period. Formed by layers of sandstone and shale, these rocks tell a fascinating geological story shaped by erosion, time, and the relentless force of the Atlantic. The name Moher comes from the Irish Gaelic and means ruins of a fort, referring to an ancient fort that once stood in the area but was destroyed during the Napoleonic Wars. Still, nature remained intact, preserving one of the most inspiring landscapes on Earth. Walking along the edge of the cliffs is an experience that blends the grandeur of the view with the thrill of standing before one of the wildest places in Ireland. Tourists, many from faraway lands, find trails that stretch for miles, revealing views of the ocean, the local wildlife, and rock formations that defy time. At the top of the cliffs, O'Brien's Tower stands out. Built in 1835 by Sir Cornelius O'Brien, this stone structure served as a viewing platform for Victorian-era visitors. From the top of the tower, it is possible to see the Aran Islands in the distance and, on clear days, even Galway Bay, one of the most beautiful in Ireland. The cliffs of Moher are a paradise for nature lovers. They are home to one of Europe's most important seabird colonies. About 30,000 birds live here, including the famous puffins, known for their colorful beaks and expressive eyes. Gulls, cormorants, and fulmars also make their home on the cliffs, soaring over the waters with remarkable precision. Studlagill, Iceland. A true geological treasure hidden in the remote east of the country, this canyon reveals one of the largest and most impressive basalt column formations in the world. But what makes this place even more fascinating is its history, its formation process, and the surprising transformation of its landscape over the years. Iceland, known for its vast volcanic plains, towering glaciers, and rushing rivers, is home to landscapes that seem to come from another planet. Studlagill, with its hexagonal columns precisely carved by nature, is one of those places that leave visitors speechless. For centuries, this canyon remained practically unknown, hidden beneath the turbulent waters of the Jökulsá River, one of the largest glacial rivers in the country. It was only in the early 21st century that Studlagill began to gain recognition. The construction of the Karanjukar Dam between the years 2003 and 2007 diverted a large part of the river's flow, drastically lowering the water level and revealing for the first time the grandeur of the rock formations that lay hidden. What was once a submerged canyon became one of Iceland's most stunning and photogenic locations. The basalt columns that define Studlagill are a remarkable geological phenomenon. They were formed from the slow cooling of volcanic lava thousands of years ago. When lava cools gradually, it contracts and cracks into perfect geometric shapes, creating columns that vary in size and diameter, but most often display a hexagonal pattern. This type of formation can be found in several places around the world, such as the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland and Fingal's Cave in Scotland. However, Studlagill stands out due to its extraordinary number of columns and its impressive height, which exceeds 98 feet in some sections. The contrast between the dark basalt and the blue-green waters of the Jökulsá River creates a surreal landscape. During the summer, when glacier melt feeds the river, its waters take on a vibrant turquoise hue, offering an even more stunning visual display. In winter, snow and ice transform the canyon into a mystical setting where silence and the vastness of nature reign supreme. Coron, Philippines. Coron, a hidden gem nestled among paradise islands and secret lagoons. Its shimmering waters reflect the brightness of the tropical sun, while limestone cliffs rise majestically above white sandy beaches. With every dive, the underwater world reveals hidden treasures, vibrant coral reefs and sunken World War II shipwrecks turned into living underwater museums. The first rays of sun illuminate the town of Coron, a small and peaceful fishing village. Here, life follows the rhythm of the tides, with warm-hearted locals who carry centuries of tradition and culture. Artisanal fishing is still the foundation of the local economy, while tourism is emerging as a new source of opportunity. For travelers who arrive, Coron is an invitation to adventure. One of the first must-see stops is Kayangan Lake, often described as one of the cleanest lakes in Asia. After a short hike along steep trails, a viewpoint reveals a spectacular sight of turquoise waters surrounded by stunning rock formations. Descending to the lake's surface, visitors are enveloped in an almost sacred silence. The crystal-clear water allows you to see the bottom, where smooth stones and limestone formations create a scene from another world. Immersed in the coolness of the lake, it's impossible not to feel connected to nature in its purest form. Continuing the exploration, Barracuda Lake appears as a new challenge for divers. Known for its thermal layers, this lake features a geological peculiarity. Different temperatures coexist within the same underwater space. As one dives deeper, the cold water gives way to warmer layers, offering a unique and intriguing experience. But it is beneath the ocean waters that Coron reveals one of its greatest secrets. During World War II, in September of 1944, aircraft from the United States Navy launched a devastating attack against the Japanese fleet, sinking several warships around the islands of Coron. Today, these shipwrecks rest silently on the seabed, covered in colorful corals and inhabited by schools of exotic fish. Among the wrecks, the Araco stands out, a nearly intact supply ship where divers can explore dark corridors and hidden compartments. Beyond the submerged history, Coron's biodiversity is a spectacle of its own. The Tubataha Reef's Natural Park, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, stretches across miles of untouched marine ecosystems. Manta rays glide gracefully over the corals, while sea turtles swim peacefully through underwater gardens. Mount Hua, China. In China, rising imposingly over Shanxi province, stands one of the most sacred and challenging peaks in the world, Mount Hua. Part of the Qinling mountain range, this stone giant is a natural and historical wonder, filled with myths, challenges, and an almost supernatural beauty. Its name, which literally means floral mountain, might sound gentle, but don't be fooled. Mount Hua is known for its steep slopes, vertigo-inducing trails, and an aura of mystery that has attracted adventurers and pilgrims for centuries. The 5 main peaks of Mount Hua resemble the fingers of a giant hand pointing toward the sky. The North Peak, the lowest among them, already rises to approximately 5,295 feet above sea level. The West Peak, covered in monumental rock formations, reaches about 9,252 feet in height. The east peak, often bathed in the rising sun, stands at approximately 6,924 feet. The central peak, surrounded by nearly impassable cliffs, climbs to 7,086 feet. But it is the south peak that claims the title of the tallest, reaching an impressive 7,066 feet. Mount Hua is not only a geological marvel. For centuries, it has been one of the 5 sacred mountains of Taoism in China, a place of meditation and spiritual reflection. The mountain is home to ancient temples and shrines, many of them hidden among the rock formations or perched on nearly inaccessible cliffs. One of the most famous temples is the Yuquan Temple, where, according to tradition, Laozi, the founder of Taoism, left profound teachings about the harmony between humans and nature. Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland. A small Swiss valley, nestled between towering limestone cliffs, blanketed by green meadows and cut through by breathtaking waterfalls. A scene that seems straight out of a fairy tale, but it's real, tangible, and alive. Welcome to Lauterbrunnen, one of Switzerland's most picturesque destinations, a true alpine paradise. Located in the Bern region, Lauterbrunnen sits at approximately 2,625 feet above sea level and is surrounded by mountains that rise over 13,123 feet in elevation. Its name, which means clear springs, lives up to the landscape. More than 72 waterfalls cascade from the rock walls, creating an unforgettable visual and auditory spectacle. The most famous of them, the Staubbachfall, with its nearly 984 feet of free fall, projects like a silver veil against the blue sky, inspiring poets and travelers for centuries. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, one of Germany's most renowned writers, visited here in the 18th century and, enchanted by the beauty of the cascade, wrote one of his most famous poems, Song of Mahomet. The poet saw in Lauterbrunnen the essence of natural beauty, something that still resonates today with those lucky enough to walk this sacred ground of nature. Wooden houses with flower-filled balconies, winding paths weaving through green hills, and the fresh scent of the countryside make this village a refuge for those seeking peace and inspiration. But Lauterbrunnen is not only a place for contemplation, it's also a paradise for adventurers, serving as a starting point for some of the most spectacular alpine trails and activities. The more daring can explore the Trummelbach Falls, an impressive system of subterranean waterfalls carved by the melting glaciers of the Jungfrau. The turbulent, silty waters rush down the mountain with incredible force, creating a display of sound and motion amid damp, shadowy caves. These waterfalls are the only ones of their kind accessible to the public in Europe, transporting more than 5,200 gallons of water per second during certain times of the year, a true testament to the power of nature. If altitude is not a problem, it's impossible to resist the temptation to take the train to Jungfraujoch, the highest railway station in Europe, located at 11,332 feet of elevation. The journey itself is an experience. The train cars travel through tunnels carved into the rock, occasionally revealing panoramic windows that open up to surreal views of the eternal glaciers. Phi Phi, Thailand. Hidden in the heart of the Andaman Sea, a paradise awakens at dawn. The sun rises behind limestone formations, tinting the crystal-clear waters with golden hues. Thus begins another day in the Phi archipelago, one of Thailand's most enchanting destinations. Composed of 6 stunning islands, Phi is a masterpiece of nature. The main island, Koh Phi Phi Don, is the only one inhabited and serves as the beating heart of this tropical sanctuary. Here, travelers from all over the world arrive in search of paradise beaches, rich marine life, and a vibrant atmosphere that balances serenity and excitement. Not far away lies Koh Phi Phi Lay, a truly untouched refuge. This island gained worldwide fame for hosting Maya Bay, the iconic beach from the movie The Beach, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Surrounded by majestic cliffs up to 328 feet high, Maya Bay presents a dreamlike setting. Its soft white sand contrasts with the turquoise blue of the ocean, creating a hypnotic, natural spectacle. But Phi is much more than its stunning beaches. Its seabed hides a fascinating universe. The coral reefs that surround the islands shelter rich biodiversity. Clownfish, black-tip reef sharks, and majestic manta rays glide gracefully through the warm waters, composing an unforgettable underwater show. That's why divers from all over the world consider Phi one of the best destinations for scuba diving and snorkeling. On land, winding trails lead to spectacular viewpoints. The most famous of them, Phi Viewpoint, requires a steep hike, but the view from the top is worth every step. The panoramic landscape reveals the silhouette of the island, with its curved coves separated by a narrow strip of land filled with palm trees and lively villages. For those seeking adventure, Phi offers more than just beaches and diving. Climbing the limestone cliffs delivers an extra dose of adrenaline, while kayaks glide smoothly through hidden coves, revealing secret caves and hypnotically blue lagoons. As the day fades, the island transforms. Nights in Phi are full of energy. Orange tones of the sunset paint the sky, and the lights of beachfront bars begin to glow. On Lo Dalum Beach, fire dancers move to the rhythm of the music, enchanting those gathered to celebrate life under the stars. The local cuisine is another spectacle in itself. Restaurants and street stalls offer everything from fresh seafood, seasoned with refined Thai spices, to traditional dishes like pad Thai and massaman curry. Exotic aromas mix with the warm night air, creating a unique sensory experience. Lake Meek, Turkey. Time sculpts landscapes, shapes territories, and gives form to true natural wonders. In the heart of Anatolia, Turkey, there is a lake that challenges the human eye and intrigues scientists, poets, and travelers alike. Its name is Lake Meeka, a volcanic body of water that more closely resembles a scene from another planet. Located in the Konya province, about 143 miles south of the capital Ankara, Lake Meek lies within the Karapınar Basin, an arid region that contrasts with the lush green of other areas in Turkey. What makes this lake so special? Its unique appearance, sculpted by a volcanic eruption that occurred thousands of years ago, resulting in a shape that resembles a gigantic alien footprint when viewed from above. The geological history of Lake Meek began approximately 5 million years ago, when intense volcanic activity triggered an underground explosion, forming a crater. Over time, this depression filled with water, creating a crater lake, one of the most impressive examples of this phenomenon in Turkey. What makes this landscape even more fascinating is the presence of a volcanic cone in the center of the lake, a rocky island that rises majestically from the water, giving the place an enigmatic atmosphere. This volcanic cone is the result of a second eruption, which deposited magma in the middle of the original crater, creating this striking formation. The lake surrounds this cone like a mirror, reflecting the sky and the ever-changing colors of the landscape throughout the day. Lake Meek measures approximately 2,625 feet in length and 1,640 feet in width, with a depth that varies depending on the season. During rainy periods, its waters expand, creating an even more lush scene. However, in recent years, climate change and groundwater extraction have caused a significant reduction in the lake's water volume, making its preservation a topic of debate among environmentalists and local authorities. The name Meek has roots in the Turkish language and is associated with a species of bird that once inhabited the region. In the past, the lake served as a refuge for various migratory birds, transforming it into a true paradise for ornithologists and nature photographers. Lençóis Maranhenses, Brazil. The Lençóis Maranhenses National Park is one of the most stunning natural treasures in Brazil. Located in the state of Maranhão, this unique region in the world stretches across more than 370,000 acres, forming a breathtaking natural spectacle of white sand dunes and crystal-clear lagoons that renew themselves with every rainy season. From above, the landscape is breathtaking. The contrast between the white of the dunes and the blue-green of the lagoons creates the impression of a water desert. But contrary to what one might think, Lençóis Maranhenses is not a desert, as the region receives frequent rainfall, creating a rich and diverse ecosystem. The formation of this natural paradise took millennia to consolidate. The trade winds blowing from the Atlantic Ocean carry sediments brought by rivers, accumulating sand and forming vast dunes that can reach up to 131 feet in height. During the rainy season, from January to June, the rainwater collects between the dunes, forming vibrant temporary lagoons. The result is a constantly changing landscape that creates a scenery that is always new and surprising. Within the park, some lagoons stand out for their beauty and size. Lagoa Azul and Lagoa Bonita are two of the most famous, enchanting visitors with their incredibly clear waters. Other lesser-known lagoons also hold hidden beauties, offering moments of peace and connection with nature. Despite the apparent aridity of the location, Lençóis Maranhenses is home to various species adapted to this singular environment. Fish such as traira survive the dry period by burying themselves in the sand, waiting for the rains to return. It's also possible to spot herons, sandpipers, and even small mammals that find shelter in the native vegetation. The communities surrounding Lençóis Maranhenses preserve a rich culture, shaped by the relationship between humans and nature. Barreirinhas is the main gateway to the park, offering infrastructure for travelers and guided tours through this vast land of sand and water. But other villages, such as Atins and Santo Amaro, reveal a more rustic and authentic side of local life. To explore Lençóis Maranhenses, one must be prepared for intense experiences. Crossing the park on foot, for example, is a journey of 3 to 5 days, traversing dunes and lagoons with the support of experienced guides. Along the way, travelers camp under a spectacular starry sky, where the Milky Way can be admired in all its splendor. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. A name that evokes images of futuristic skyscrapers, artificial islands, and unparalleled luxury. Located in the United Arab Emirates, this city rose from the desert to become one of the most iconic destinations on the planet. But how did this metropolis transform into a global phenomenon in such a short time? This is the story of Dubai, a tale of ambition, vision, and innovation. The region where Dubai now stands was, for centuries, a landscape dominated by golden sand dunes and the intense desert heat. For thousands of years, Bedouins inhabited this land, living simply, engaging in trade and pearl fishing. However, the discovery of oil in the 1960s changed everything. With the bold vision of its leaders, Dubai began its transformation into one of the world's most dynamic economic centers. Today, Dubai is a true marvel of modernity, with an impressive infrastructure and a skyline that leaves anyone in awe. The Burj Khalifa, at 2,716 feet tall, is the tallest building in the world. From its observation deck on the 124th floor, one can enjoy a panoramic view of the entire city, the Persian Gulf, and on clear days, even the endless desert surrounding Dubai. But the city didn't stop at building towering skyscrapers. Palm Jumeirah, an artificial island shaped like a palm tree, is a modern engineering marvel. With more than 131 million cubic yards of sand dredged from the sea, this island is visible even from space. It houses some of the world's most luxurious hotels and residences, including the iconic Atlantis, the Palm Hotel. Tourism is one of Dubai's major economic drivers. Millions of visitors arrive every year to experience the city's innovations and luxury. The Dubai Mall, with more than 5,400,000 square feet of area, is one of the largest shopping centers in the world. Inside, it features over 1,200 stores, a massive aquarium, an ice skating rink, and even an indoor waterfall. Dubai also prides itself on hosting some of the most spectacular events on the planet. The Dubai World Cup, for instance, is one of the most luxurious horse races in the world, offering multi-million-dollar prizes. Expo 2020, held in the city in 2021 due to the pandemic, brought technological and architectural innovations that reaffirmed Dubai as a global hub of innovation. Sanctuary of Madonna della Corona, Italy. Nestled among the steep cliffs of Mount Baldo in the Veneto region of Italy lies one of the most awe-inspiring sanctuaries in the world, the Sanctuary of Madonna della Corona. A sacred gem suspended between sky and earth, carved into the rock and surrounded by mystery and devotion. This unique place, with a history that dates back to the 15th century, stands at approximately 2,541 feet above sea level. Its structure, seemingly defying gravity, emerges from the mountain itself, creating a landscape that has impressed pilgrims and visitors since time immemorial. But how did this sanctuary, considered one of the most inaccessible in Europe, come to exist? Legend has it that in the year 1322, a statue of the Virgin Mary was miraculously transported from the Greek islands to this cliff as a divine sign. Centuries later, faith became firmly rooted in the location, and a sanctuary was built there. Over time, the small chapel was expanded and transformed into the grand structure we see today. As visitors approach the sanctuary, they already sense the magnificence of the place. Access is not easy. One must walk a trail of about 1¼ miles, either descending a steep path or climbing a staircase of around 1,500 steps from the village of Spiazzi. For pilgrims, this journey is a true act of faith, a physical sacrifice that symbolizes the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. Passing through the entrance gates, a sacred silence envelops all. The sanctuary's facade, adorned with delicate stone details, is an invitation to introspection. The current building, renovated in the 19th century, combines Gothic and Renaissance elements, preserving the site's medieval essence. But it is upon entering the church that the true magic reveals itself. Inside, the mystical atmosphere is heightened by the dim candlelight and the rays of sunlight filtering through the colorful stained glass. On the main altar, the image of the Madonna della Corona, with her serene expression and compassionate gaze, welcomes the faithful. The statue, sculpted in stone, is just over 3 feet tall and depicts the Virgin holding the body of Christ in her arms, a moving scene that evokes the Pietà. Even for those who are not religious, a visit to the sanctuary of Madonna della Corona is an unforgettable experience. Its unique location, rich history of faith, and architectural beauty make it one of the most fascinating places in Italy. Upon leaving, many visitors carry with them not only photographs and souvenirs, but also a feeling of serenity and spiritual renewal. Mount Ijen volcano, Indonesia. This gigantic crater, full of mystery and danger, draws explorers, scientists, and tourists in search of a rare and dazzling spectacle, the blue flames. This is a place where beauty and peril walk side by side, where nature reveals its forces in a fascinating dance of elements. With an elevation of over 8,630 feet above sea level, Mount Ijen is one of Indonesia's many active stratovolcanoes. Its formation dates back thousands of years, and its current landscape is the result of countless eruptions and geological transformations. Inside the crater lies one of the most acidic lakes in the world, whose turquoise-green color hides a lethal danger. An acidity level so high it can dissolve metals and organic tissue within minutes. But what truly makes Ijen a unique spectacle isn't just its crater or acidic lake. It's a rare phenomenon that occurs in only a few places on Earth, the spontaneous combustion of sulfuric gases, resulting in the impressive blue flames. At night, these ghostly flames rise from fissures in the volcanic ground, creating a nearly supernatural vision. The phenomenon occurs when sulfur dioxide ignites upon contact with oxygen, reaching temperatures that can exceed 1,004 degrees Fahrenheit. Visitors who wish to witness this spectacle must begin their journey in the early hours before dawn. The trail to the crater is about 1¾ miles long and requires stamina, as it is steep and slippery. Along the way, the strong smell of sulfur becomes more intense, making it essential to wear protective masks to avoid inhaling toxic gases. Gradually, the blue glow begins to appear, illuminating the dark rocks with an eerie light. However, Ijen is not just a tourist destination. For many local workers, It represents a means of survival. Every day, dozens of sulfur miners endure extreme conditions to extract the valuable mineral. Using rudimentary tools, they break off chunks of solidified sulfur and carry them in bamboo baskets, hauling loads that can exceed 154 pounds per trip. The journey is grueling and dangerous, carried out amid clouds of toxic gases that can cause irreversible damage to health. The work of the Guizhou miners is among the most exhausting and hazardous in the world. Many do not use proper protective gear and suffer from respiratory issues due to prolonged exposure to sulfuric gases. Despite the hardships, sulfur mining remains the primary source of income for many families in the region. The sulfur extracted here is used in various industries, from sugar production to gunpowder and fertilizers. For scientists, Guizhou is a natural laboratory. Geologists and volcanologists constantly study its activity, monitoring changes in gas composition and variations in the lake's temperature. Guizhou's crater also serves as a living example of the interaction between volcanic activity and bodies of water, providing valuable data for the study of other active volcanoes around the world. Civita di Bagnoregio, Italy. Known as the Dying City, this ancient medieval village defies the centuries and the laws of nature, bravely resisting its fate of erosion and isolation. Suspended atop a pedestal of volcanic tuff, Civita appears like a mirage, a memory of a glorious past that refuses to disappear. The history of this city goes back over 2,000 years, when the Etruscans, one of the most mysterious civilizations of antiquity, settled in this region and built the first settlements. They chose this strategic location for its natural defenses, a volcanic rock plateau surrounded by deep ravines. However, the same factors that once ensured its security have, over the centuries, become its greatest threat. The constant erosion of the fragile soil, made up of layers of clay and volcanic tuff, has caused much of the city to collapse. Entire streets, buildings, and even churches have been swallowed by the abyss over the years, leaving Civita increasingly isolated from the rest of the world. Today, the city is connected to the rest of the Bagnoregio municipality only by a narrow pedestrian bridge that stretches for approximately 984 feet, defying the wind and the harsh landscape. Crossing that bridge, visitors feel as if they are walking straight into history. The silence of the valley below, broken only by the sound of the wind, creates an atmosphere of mystery and reverence. The entrance to the city is marked by an imposing gate carved into the rock, a legacy left by the Etruscans and later modified during the Middle Ages. Upon passing through it, one is transported into a labyrinth of cobbled streets, lined with stone houses and flower-filled balconies, where time seems to have stood still. At the center of Civita is Piazza San Donato, the city's main square. This space, once the site of festivals, gatherings, and even public executions, is now a haven of peace and contemplation. The Church of San Donato, with its simple facade and sturdy bell tower, dominates the scene. Built on the foundations of an Etruscan temple, this church houses sacred relics and a medieval crucifix that draws pilgrims from various parts of the world. But Civita di Bagnoregio is not only a place of contemplation, it is also a testament to human fragility in the face of nature's forces. The erosion phenomenon continues to threaten its foundations, and constant efforts are made to slow its advance. Tianzi Mountain, China. A nearly mystical landscape that defies the limits of imagination, surrounded by colossal stone pillars that stretch toward the sky as if they were the tips of spears from ancient warriors, petrified by time. The name Tianzi means Son of Heaven, a reference to the legendary peasant leader Xiang Dakun, who led the Red Turban Rebellion during the Ming Dynasty. According to legend, Xiang Dakun believed he was the rightful heir to the celestial throne, and the mountains were named in his honor as a symbol of his resistance and indomitable spirit. This geological wonder is part of the Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and stands out for its stunning quartzite peaks that rise more than 3,937 feet above sea level. These unique rock formations inspired the floating mountains in James Cameron's film Avatar, further cementing the area's reputation as one of the most breathtaking tourist destinations on Earth. Exploring Tianzi Mountain is like stepping into a dreamlike world. Morning mist often shrouds the peaks, creating a visual spectacle that blurs the line between sky and earth. On certain days, the illusion of suspended mountains defies all logic, making visitors question reality itself. Access to the mountain can be achieved in various ways, but the most spectacular is undoubtedly the Tianzi Mountain Cableway. With a route spanning approximately 6,895 feet, this aerial journey offers an unmatched panoramic view. As the cabin glides smoothly through the air, travelers are treated to a privileged perspective of the vast subtropical forest, deep ravines, and towering stone spires that define this magical landscape. For adventurers who prefer to explore on foot, there are challenging trails that wind through the mountain, leading to impressive viewpoints such as Heavenly Clouds, where one can admire the sea of clouds that frequently blankets the valley. Walking these paths is a fully immersive experience in nature, with the fresh scent of trees and the sound of birds echoing through the cliffs. Among the natural highlights of Tianzi Mountain is the famous Sea of Rocks, a collection of pillars sculpted by erosion over millions of years. These formations resemble human figures, animals, and even castles, stimulating the imagination of all who gaze upon them. Another must-see feature is the Fairy Bridge, a rock formation that connects two elevated peaks, defying gravity and offering one of the most breathtaking sights in the region.